So today I wanted to have a little thought down about unemployment and that the implications of what that can do to you psychologically. So my story is that I've been studying for a lot of my adult life. I did a full-time job when I left school. Didn't quite get the college grades I wanted. Then I went into an office job which I absolutely despised. The team was great, so it kept me there. It kept me it just kept me turning up, and it was just a bit of continuous money, but I really kind of lost myself along the way. Didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Um, then one day I realized, once I'd moved jobs into something that was supposed to be a big step up in terms of prospects and promotion wise, and I ended up hating that job so much more and didn't have much extra money to show for it. So that really kicked me quite hard and prompted me to go back and do more education in order to pursue a career which I genuinely wanted to do, or at least one that actually had prospects long term. And that's where I am today. I now work in a hospital and I do a very important role. I'm nearly at the end of my degree. But anyway, in terms of unemployment, when I say unemployment, I'm talking about even when you've got not a full-time regular job, but more of a pick and choose your shift job, pick up extra bits around uni or college, things like that. The impact that it can have is only something I've really noticed recently. With the first couple of years of it, you don't really clock. And then now I'm in my late 20s. It really kind of hit home when I look around at other people. And I know people shouldn't compare, but everyone does that. And we all know that we do it. And it's like, you know, when you feel like you're so below the baseline of people. So I always thought I was taking a risk by going back to education and trying to really take a leap of faith in myself and better myself, because I knew that I was going nowhere in the current job that I was in. But now although I do have better prospects than I ever had before, because I took that leap, and I've had a completely different life experience since, because of I was never working in hospitals. I always thought maybe there was something I'd like to do, is work in a hospital or in healthcare, and medicine, surgery, whatever. So all of those doors have now been opened up to me, and I've genuinely allowed myself to go into these places, and now I can just work there. So, and well, I'm soon to qualify and fully work there all the time. There are so many options, there are so many specialties. It was really we can always think, oh, there's maybe another path that I should have taken, but it was definitely a really good choice from where I was. Even if it's not going to be my long-term career, or even if I don't stay in it forever, fine. So anyway, back to unemployment. I'm talking about like unemployment is in like complete lack of job and lack of regular work. So I'd consider like unemployment not technically true in terms of being a uni student, because you still pick and choose shifts and bits and bobs, and you're still doing a full-time thing. But especially in your 20s, I think, especially sort of mid to late 20s, it's almost like you miss a bit of development, I think, a bit of maturity, a bit of that essence of leaving the nest. And I think psychologically, especially in my early 20s, I didn't really realize how much of an effect that would have on me, because now I'm at a position where perhaps I'd like to meet someone, and I'm really looking forward to getting on with more like adult stuff, as in, like looking at moving into a flat or a house with someone, really having that independence and autonomy away from the parents, things like that. but it's almost like that little window has been set back for me because of what choices that I chose. So it's really difficult because obviously then it was a good choice compared to the situation that I was in, but also that lack of being in full-time regular work and interaction with people, always being sort of stuck in the books and quite isolated, studying alone, it really does have an impact, and you don't realize it until it kind of hits you all at once, about feeling like you've wasted time and feeling like maybe you should have chose something else. So I'd say in terms of like a detailed analysis of it, when you're out of that work loop, just getting up in the morning and going to work, although a lot of people, you'll ask them and they say, I hate my job, but I think there's a lot to be said for going to a regular workplace with a regular team and interacting with people, having a purpose, rather than just being self-absorbed in your mind, studying, looking at books all day, looking at YouTube all day. It's all like a simulated world, if you like, because you're not talking with live people, you're studying, you're learning, and it's all very about you. Of course, we can go into, oh yeah, you can do a sport, you can go to the gym, things like that. But sometimes you find that you've got assignments due and you're so bogged down with all of these responsibilities and deadlines and topics you've got to study and assignments. It can be really hard to think, now's a good time to go to the gym, or now's a good time to go to that running club that I go to, or whatever social you like to do. And over time, I do think that, yeah, you kind of like miss that developmental part where you're really interacting with people that are like you, when you're not just stuck with yourself and YouTube videos and other people on the internet, other opinions that are just almost like hollow. Because if you think about it, anything that's posted is in the past, right? So anything that you watch, even this, is going to be, this is not now. We're not having a conversation, you know, literally having a conversation. It's all already happened. And that difference psychologically, emotionally, I think even on a chemical level with your brain, your nervous system, you're out in the real world, you're really interacting with people, they give you their opinions, and you grow with, in a sense of like a community growth setting, you know, as scenario. You know, you're in a team, you're working together. I know you've got fellow students when you're studying, and yeah, it's all for a greater purpose and getting better jobs and blah blah blah, but it's a really careful balance. I think you've got to be very careful what you choose. When I chose to do my degree, I didn't think it didn't sound long, 3 years, and it's only sort of the first year was fine, didn't really bother me. Second year, not too bad, started to get a bit draggy. This year, my last and final year, I've only got a couple of months left. But these last few months, these last 6, I don't know, 8 months or whatever, it's been like the lowest point in my life, because there's all these things that I want to do, there's all this independence that I want to have, but it's almost like you're stuck in this little rigid structure that you just got to finish before you can finally get on with things. You know, your time is so taken up by all of these projects and deadlines that you don't consider, you know, I haven't made videos for like months and months. I managed to make the odd couple here and there, but yeah, it's really difficult to think that it's like a good time to do it. I appreciate that perhaps people that are in full-time work also think that, or people with families also think that. So we all have our own little boxes, I suppose. So, but I think you just got to be careful what you choose. I'm not really sure what the message of this is, but you really got to consider your mental health and psychological needs in terms of development, in terms of social interaction, in terms of having a purpose. I personally feel like in my final year, it's almost like I've been stuck in this student phase. I've been working when I can, here and there on my days off, around assignments. I've tried socializing and dating and things like that, but it's very, very hard to be that fully autonomous adult who is independent in the world when you've got no money coming in, when you've got like a few £100 here and there where you've picked up an extra shift or two, because you can't do a full day's work, no, you can't do a full week's work, because you've got like 4 days in at college which are completely unpaid, and a lot of these lectures drag, and they're very, very wishy-washy content. You know, sometimes they'll drag out a topic like communication is one that me and my friends say a lot is an absolute like BS topic, because like perhaps in year one, but not in our final third year of our degree, we every year we go through communication, and it's insane. I think it's absolute waste of time. It's just this complete filler. It's like the filler episode in your favorite show, and you just end up rolling your eyes and think, wow, that was such a waste of my time, because I didn't learn anything. There was nothing stimulating in that content. It was just do something so that we can bring you into uni for the week. And yeah, so this year I feel like it's just been a complete drag, and I've not really learnt much. So my argument, I'm going a bit off topic now obviously, but my argument is that this degree, and a lot of degrees, can be a 2-year degree, because the year one is an absolute waste of time. It's a lot of helping other people catch up to the level, which I don't think should be mandatory. I think if you don't meet the criteria, then you just don't get onto the course, or you can drop out of the course early. It's fine. You don't have to accumulate loads of debt if you can't manage the workload and the course. But those that can, why should you have to do another 12 months of wishy-washy content just so you can, just for the sake of it? And it's expensive as well. It's not, it's, you know, it used to be free degrees, but not anymore, you know, not for a long time have they been free. When I hear about people that have sort of had sponsored, you know, apprenticeships, degree apprenticeships, things like that, I'm not saying that I couldn't have got onto any of these myself, but it really has an impact on you psychologically. And that when that ties in with the unemployment and you're not earning, but you're spending all this time sort of doing free labor and like placement hours, and then you feel like you're not really learning much, where you could be getting on with the job and really learning on the job when you get your first employment after the degree ends. It's so painful. It's so insanely infuriating, I'd say. So yeah, I'd say maybe this is about choosing the right choices in terms of, do you commit to the degree or not? Like, just be sure that you actually want to do that career or job, or at least you've got a few options if you do that degree or course or whatever pursuit you're pursuing. But if you're like me and you were just getting out of a bad situation, then it's a win-win, I suppose. But yeah, don't underestimate the kind of psychological cost, you know, because now I'm feeling like I'm so behind. A lot of people say that's rubbish, like everyone's on their own timelines, and yeah, like, you know, who knows, you can make a load of money by people enjoying this content, for example, or I've dabbled in selling different products online and creating my own businesses. So it's like anything could suddenly take off with consistency and effort, etc., with a good bit of luck. So yeah, my timeline might accelerate suddenly. I might suddenly feel like, holy shit, all of this is now coming together and I'm in such a better place than I ever was. But at the moment, I would just warn against that psychological cost of long-term unemployment, no social contacts, not working with a team, not building that confidence to really be a productive member of society, I suppose. I'm not saying students aren't productive members of society, and I know, like, if it's anything like me, we work in more than most people because we are also doing the full-time course and almost like even more than full-time work to make up the deficit of not being in that full-time employment, So yeah, that's about it. I don't know. It's just wanted to have a little rant about it. Maybe someone will find something in this content. So yeah, if you're watching this, drop me your thoughts, your experiences in the past. If you've done your degrees, have you had unemployment in the past, or is there anything that maybe would help someone else get through that kind of similar situation where you really struggle to work when you're doing a full-time course without leaving something, obviously, yeah, we can all work every day of the week, but you can't do that forever, and you're probably not going to be a very productive person if you do that forever. If you're really killing yourself at work around your course, unless you're some sort of, superhuman brain, or perhaps doing, I don't know, drugs or something, then, I don't know, your grades are going to take an impact or something like that. So yeah, I don't know, I'm just rambling now, but if anyone's got any advice for how to get through a degree without working full-time, flicking between different departments and different jobs and constantly starting again, and that feeling, then yeah, feel free to share that and drop a little comment if there's anything that helped you or any advice, and hopefully it will help someone else watching. Cool, thanks, see ya.